Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Today I Effed Up. Our first post is by Lego Abomination. Today I effed up by making my dental care team think I'm cheating on my wife. Some background. I am a bisexual man in a happy, ethically non-monogamous marriage. I occasionally have safe sex with other people of all genders, and my wife is okay with that. Today I saw the oral surgeon to get some teeth removed under sedation. At the beginning, my wife was in the room while we were going over pre-op work and post-op instructions. When my wife left so they could start, the oral surgeon asked me if there's anything I should tell him now that my wife is out of the room. I thought that was an odd question to ask. He then mentioned that on the paperwork I filled out when I made the appointment a few weeks ago under medications I currently take, I listed Truvada for PrEP. I quickly realized that when they asked me about medications again while my wife was in the room, I talked about my medications for high blood pressure, anxiety, and ADHD, but forgot to mention PrEP. The doctor asks me some more questions about it, like do I have HIV, and in my already partially dazed state I just blurted out, no, it's because I have casual sex. A few hours later, when I'm recovered enough to talk, I told my wife, I think they think I'm cheating on you, and told her about this. She laughs, then tells me about how awkward they were around her when they got her from the waiting room when I was done. Our next post is by Blue Sky Sunny. Today I effed up by assuming that the car I bought in the US was set to miles for 7 years. In 2016, my 18-year-old self purchased a common used car from an old man who lived in Ohio. Everything checked out. He had a clean title in hand, maintenance records, and the test drive revealed no issues. Shortly after purchasing the car, my father remarked that I was really putting on the miles fast, and as a result, there were pretty frequent oil changes. I brushed his comments aside as I did drive the car daily and take it on some weekend adventures. Fast forward to this year. With my car now at 179K, it had to go into a service shop for repair after some warning lights came on. The shop provided me with a diagnostic sheet from a tool they plugged into my car, which showed my car only had 111K miles. I pointed out the mistake, but the mechanic was confident the sheet was correct. We took a look at the odometer, and he remarked how it was unusual that there was no indication of the unit it was in, but he noted the speedometer was labeled in miles. After some debate, we pulled up a km to miles calculator, finding that 179K kilometer equals, you guessed it, 111K miles. We then tested the theory by driving and recording the distance to check versus the odometer, and sure enough, it confirmed our suspicions that my mileage was actually kilometers. The mechanic went to toggle the setting that should have put it back to miles, but discovered the feature to be broken, leaving my car's odometer stuck in kilometer. He said I could pay to have someone try to fix it, but then pointed out that all of this car's records, title, maintenance, insurance, etc., including the ones from the previous owner, were also in kilometers marked incorrectly as miles. Trying to reverse it back to miles would be a lengthy and expensive process, and I might get flagged for trying to commit odometer fraud by rolling it back. So now I'm stuck with my car with an odometer and all of its records in km marked incorrectly as miles. I'll likely be unable to sell it with the false paperwork, and have spent hundreds of unnecessary dollars in extra oil changes and other routine maintenance based on the mileage. The upside is I purchased it for a good deal since the previous owner was also under the impression that it was in miles. Our next post is by Taco Guy Dave. Today I effed up by eating beans for 72 hours straight. My family was out of town for a week, so I made a large crockpot of beans with ham chunks, something my mom cooked when I was a child. I kept them simmering for 3 days and ate nothing else. I played video games and ate beans for 72 hours. Life was great. Those beans tasted amazing. The night of day 3, my body felt like it was being taken over by the Antichrist himself. I got the sweats. I spent so much time on the toilet I felt like I owed it rent. My butt hurt and swelled up so bad I was sitting on ice cubes trying to find relief. Things and smells were exuding from my backside I didn't know existed, nor would I wish on my worst enemy. After trying every medication I could find and experimenting with every homeopathic solution Google suggested, I finally went to the emergency room. The doctor in the ER that night looked to be about 28 and was model attractive. After explaining my predicament, I was soon butt up, face down on an exam table so she and the nurse could get a look. As she's poking the swollen mass that had grown out my butt and commenting how she had never seen anything like it, I felt a rumble I had experienced many times those past 24 hours, and before I could react, I projectile vomited liquid poop from my butt that splattered all over the table and the doctor, twice. I was mortified. After getting cleaned up by a male orderly, I was admitted and given meds, which helped tremendously with the physical pain, but the emotional damage was already done. I had another half dozen or so doctors and nurses look at my naked backside for the next 36 hours before I was released. My out-of-pocket expense for that visit was over $3,000, making that the most expensive crockpot of beans to ever exist. I'll be paying emotionally for the rest of my life. Our next post is by Throwaway. Today I effed up by giving myself a DIY enema without thinking about it. I, 23F, have been talking to someone, 28M, long distance for quite some time now. We met when I used to live in his city, but have since moved away. I made plans to visit him soon, and we're finally gonna have sex. I know that he is into some things that I have never tried before, so I've been experimenting. I'm living with my parents right now, and they have a hot tub. I've been relaxing in there as much as I can before the winter hits. I was in the tub alone. Today I had a brilliant idea. If the jets feel good in one spot, it's gotta feel good on another. So I sat on it. I let the jet go right up my butt, and within seconds I regretted my decision. I felt that I had to make the fattest poop. So I rushed out of the tub, grabbed my towel, and locked myself in the bathroom. When I say I had an aggressive brown waterfall flying out of me, that's a severe understatement. I sat on the can for a good 20 minutes and it didn't stop. I had to take a long shower afterward to make sure I was clean. I've had the poops ever since. Definitely do not recommend. Update. I seriously did not expect this to get so much attention, let alone get positive feedback and advice. I'm actually learning a lot from y'all. And when I'm not getting some good info, I'm getting a laugh. I'm glad some of you got a good laugh out of this as well. Reading these comments has been really unexpectedly uplifting, and I'm happy I can now effectively prepare to have an amazing time. Much love. Our next post is by Stock Ferret. Today I effed up by eating a lot of white chocolate. Many of you will be familiar with the sugar-free gummy bear effect. Today I learned the white chocolate effect. Quick science lesson: white chocolate includes an emulsifier called lecithin. In high doses this can cause water poop. So today on my lunch break I decide to treat myself to some white chocolate. Hadn't had some in a while. So off I trot to the break room and sit there munching. I eat about 70% of the bag before I decide I've had enough. Then the cramping started. It was a dull ache at first. Nothing huge. Probably gas. Then I pass the warning fart. The fart that means next one will be poop. So I run, more speed shuffle. Like I'm doing while typing this. I get to the women's room and there's a queue, as always when I desperately need the toilet. I manage to get into a cubicle with mere seconds to spare and rip my pants and underwear down and unleash hell. Luckily, whoever had used it before me didn't flush, so there was toilet paper there to mask the sounds, all the sounds that weren't me sobbing. I clean up and get back to work and finish out my day, which leads us to now. Me speed shuffling home as the second wave threatens to crash down like the aftershock of a tsunami. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.